We're jumping 4.5 millennia back in time to really demystify one of the absolute greatest engineering marvels in human history. We're talking, of course, about Pharaoh Khufu's massive monument at Giza. But as you're going to see today, calling it just a tomb really doesn't do it justice. This thing was a highly complex, meticulously designed resurrection machine. And the craziest part? It was built using nothing but rock, sheer human muscle, and some brilliant, surprisingly simple physics. Let's dive in. We really have to start with the sheer jaw-dropping scale of this project. 6 million tons. Guys, that is the weight of a literal man-made mountain. The pharaoh wanted eternity, he wanted the tallest structure on Earth, and he wanted it like yesterday. And they actually delivered this staggering 6 million ton behemoth without a single crane, without one single wheel, and without any iron whatsoever. It really forces us to ask, how is that even possible?
Section 1. Laying the perfect foundation.
So to build for eternity, the absolute first step was carving acres of rough desert bedrock into a flawlessly perfect flat datum platform. I mean, if the bottom is wrong, the top is never going to meet, right? Precision at this stage was literally a matter of survival for the project. But to get that perfect base, they faced a massive hurdle. No modern surveying equipment, no laser levels. Think about how hard it is just to level a patio in your own backyard. Their solution? Water. Because gravity, it doesn't lie. They dug channels, flooded them, and used the perfect horizontal surface of the water to level a base wide enough to hold 8 whole football fields. They leveled this enormous footprint to an accuracy of within just 2 centimeters. That is less than an inch. And then, using only the stars, they aligned this massive base perfectly to true north. Just incredible. Moving right along to Section 2, the muscle and the methods. With that foundation beautifully laid, it was time for the heavy lifting. An incredible army arrived at the Giza Plateau ready to start pulling millions of blocks from the earth. Now, we really need to shatter a common myth right here. The Great Pyramid was not built by slaves. Actually, it was built by a massive, highly organized, drafted army of roughly 20,000 workers. The bureaucracy was just intense. These citizens were well taken care of, paid in daily rations of bread and beer, which definitely helps morale, and organized into specific, highly motivated teams. We know this because they actually left behind graffiti with their gang signs and team names like the Friends of Khufu, or my personal favorite, the Drunkards of Manor. Down in the dusty belly of the quarry, you can just imagine the air was thick with limestone dust. Obviously, they couldn't use explosives to blast the rock, and their copper tools were actually too soft on their own, so they had to harden them with arsenic. But even with that, for every single hour of cutting, they needed another hour just for sharpening. So they relied on this simple, brilliant physics trick. They would pickaxe small channels into the rock, wedge in bone-dry pieces of wood, and then pour water right over it. The water made the wood expand with incredible force until, crack, a brand new 2-ton block was born. And they repeated that exhausting, back-breaking process 2.3 million times. Next up, they actually had to move those blocks. Remember, wheels were completely useless here. A heavy cart would just sink straight into the deep desert sand and get stuck instantly. Out there, friction is your ultimate enemy. So, their elegant solution? They drag the blocks on flat wooden sleds over a path of perfectly measured wet sand. Wetting the sand right in front of the sled completely altered the ground's friction. It essentially halved the effort required by the workers and literally doubled their speed. It's kind of like greasing a pan. But not all rock is created equal. While the local limestone they used for the bulk of the pyramid was relatively easy to cut, the pharaoh also demanded a swan granite for the internal chambers. And granite was the absolute nightmare material. We're talking harder than steel. Copper pickaxes couldn't even scratch the stuff. To shape this nightmare stone, workers had to endlessly pound it with round dolerite balls, literally pulverizing the rock into the right shape, millimeter by agonizing millimeter for months on end. And if shaping it was that hard, how do you move a 50-ton granite beam from Aswan, which is hundreds of miles away from Giza? Well, the answer is, you don't fight nature. You use it. They simply waited for the annual flooding of the Nile. When those waters rose, it became this massive natural water highway that allowed barges to do the heavy lifting, delivering these giant stones directly to a specially built port right at Giza. Section 3. Building the internal machine. Right around year 10 of construction, as blocks were being dragged up a winding spiral ramp lubricated with slippery gypsum mortar, they began constructing the pyramid's intricate interior. And this brilliantly illustrates that this structure wasn't just a pile of rocks with a tomb in the middle, it was a highly functional machine. You have the tight, claustrophobic ascending passage, you have that middle room we call the Queen's Chamber, with mysterious shafts pointing directly to the stars, and then the absolute masterpiece, the Grand Gallery. This was like a towering cathedral in the dark. But it wasn't just built to look pretty. It was a mechanical tool, a massive counterweight system that required completely flawless coordination to pull the heaviest blocks up into the heart of the pyramid. Up at level 50, they faced their ultimate challenge. To crown the King's Chamber, they needed to place massive granite roof beams weighing 70 tons each. Just to put that into perspective, that is the exact weight of a modern space shuttle, and it had to be lifted entirely by hand, with insane precision, where you literally couldn't fit a hair between the joints. So sheer muscle wasn't going to be enough to lift a space shuttle made of stone. They needed leverage. They used what's called a rocker. It's a simple lever mechanism with a curved base. Hundreds of men would pull in absolute, relentless rhythm. They would rock the massive stone up just a tiny fraction of an inch, slip a wooden wedge underneath, and rock it back. Rock, wedge. Pure manpower and rhythm, turning sheer vertical weight into manageable friction without a single piece of complex machinery. Just amazing. But even after placing those 70-ton beams, they had a terrifying problem on their hands. Millions of tons of rock were going to be stacked on top of this room. The sheer weight should have instantly cracked those granite beams in half. Their solution? The relieving chambers. They built 5 empty hidden attics, stacked basically like a layer cake above the King's Chamber. This was pure genius engineering that diverted all that crushing downward pressure outward, completely saving the room below. In fact, the King's stone backs inside was so large, they actually had to build this entire marvel of a room completely around it. It's an ancient masterclass in weight distribution that modern architects are still marveling at today.
Section 4. Reaching the summit.
As the structure rose higher and higher, the air thinned out and the wind really howled. Just imagine standing on a tiny, wind-battered platform 140 meters up in the sky, where a single slip means certain death. This is where they performed the final lift. They placed the pyramidion, the capstone of the entire mountain, which was famously covered in gold. It was designed to perfectly catch the sun, shining like a blinding second sun over the whole Egyptian landscape. But the job still wasn't finished. The pharaoh didn't want a jagged mountain of steps, right? He wanted a smooth, perfect ray of light. So, starting from the very top and working their way down, they dressed the pyramid in this seamless white limestone armor. They cut the face to a perfect 51-degree angle, polishing it as smooth as glass and dismantling their construction ramps on the way down. When they were finally done, it was a glowing, pristine white beacon, visible all the way from the mountains of Israel.
Section 5. Enduring Legacy and Modern Mysteries.
So after Khufu was laid to rest and his successors built their own pyramids next door, that golden age of construction eventually faded. And over the millennia, the Great Pyramid took a serious beating. In 1330 AD, a massive earthquake shook the region, loosening that beautiful white limestone casing, which was then stripped away to help build the city of Cairo. During the Middle Ages, caliphs and robbers used brute force to tunnel in, only to find the King's Chamber completely empty. Later on, explorers literally used dynamite to hunt for hidden rooms. Yet, despite being stripped and blasted over centuries, it is the only wonder of the ancient world that is still standing today. And amazingly, it is still offering up new surprises. Like in 2017, when advanced scans revealed a massive, completely uncharted void hidden right above the Grand Gallery. Today, thankfully, we aren't using dynamite anymore. We're using robots to gently explore the tiny hidden shafts inside this ancient resurrection machine. And deep within, they've recently found mysterious small doors fitted with tiny copper handles. We still have no idea what exactly lies behind them. It really leaves us to wonder, after 4,500 years, what incredible secrets of human ingenuity are still waiting in the dark for us to discover?